Real quick, this is editing, Kirk. Holy shit, I talked a lot. And I basically just rambled in this video. But if that's your sort of thing, watch it. If not, I actually will put the timestamps in the description for the build itself and then the gameplay at the end. Thanks. How's it going, Remnant community? This is Kirk the Stampede. I've not really made any YouTube videos before, especially not for Remnant, but this build that I have come up with is so cracked, I had to make a YouTube video about it. I just had to, and there's not that many videos on YouTube about medic builds anyways, so I figured I could, help you guys out that are trying to keep your homies alive. So basically the thought process behind this build, and it's cracked. Your friends will think you're cheating at first, and then once you're in Apocalypse difficulty and Nightmare, they will be like, holy crap, we don't want to play without you anymore. But basically the thought process behind this build, and before you even say, oh no, you're in the Leto gear, I don't want to flop, blah blah blah, you're not gonna flop, I promise. The idea behind this build is to be as tanky as possible with as much HP as possible so that you can pump out the most heals and never go down, while also maintaining some mobility so that you don't get hit by that stuff in Apocalypse that'll one-shot you, because that's the biggest problem. Other than that, you and your team, if they don't get one shot and you don't get one shot, none of you will die. This build literally came out of trying to beat the last boss on Nightmare. And it honestly makes that fight kind of trivial. There's still some teammates getting one shot in Apocalypse a little bit, but it's crazy. So let's get into what the build is. Obviously you can see we're wearing the full Leto set, and I'm using the Resonating Heart. I am the medic class first. Now the other thing is too, is that you're gonna have absolutely infinite relics. I never run out. And the reason why is because of the medic's passive, which is for every 250 HP that you restore, you're going to get a relic back. And that is why we are running Summoner as the secondary. Sometimes you'll get in a lobby, if you're playing with randoms or playing with your friends or whatever, and they're playing DPS, they are used to having to dodge a lot, right? And so if they're dodging a lot, they're not taking damage. And if they're not taking damage, your heals are not healing them, you are going to run out of relics because you're not going to proc your passive enough for as much as you need to spam relics with this build. Because that's basically all you're doing. Everything else you can focus on. You hit your relic, you got 20 seconds with this relic where you can do whatever you want. You can dodge attacks, you can DPS the boss, whatever you want to do. When you're outside of that 20 seconds, you are spamming that relic right before. Sometimes you can even double up on the relic and it's crazy. But the reason I go Summoner is that way the summon will take the damage that I need to heal to be able to replace relics. Now, if you get in a group with some tanky guys and they're not dodging as much and they can take a couple of hits, even some hits that would one-shot other people, you're so gravy it's not even funny. You can run literally any other class with this build. You don't have to run Summoner if that's the case, because you are going to heal the crap out of them, and you'll be halfway through a boss fight and still have your max 10 relics. It's awesome. So let's get into the build. I'm going to go ahead and drink a concoction so you can see I run the HP concoction when I'm doing Nightmare or doing Apocalypse. I run the Resonating Heart, the full Leto set. So we are 202 HP, 90 stamina, but that doesn't matter with this build, and 290 armor, which that will go up as I get better relic fragments. And the relic fragments you can kind of switch up. Now, I will tell you right now, you've got it on the screen, so you can just go copy the build if you want. Now, the only real issue you have with this build is that reviving people can sometimes be hard if you're fighting a boss like the final boss and you just get stun locked in it by some of its moves, or the flying bastards in Lawsome that you get two of those things on you and you're just stuck. But that's also somewhat been solved by another combo here. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we got 202 HP. The Resonating Heart on use regenerates 72.5, and it says 70. It might say 50 for you, but 72.5% of max health over 5 seconds. So that is so high because of my healing effectiveness, and being the medic class. When the heal ends, any overhealed health is doubled and awarded over the next 20 seconds. So what that means is I'm going to pop that relic while I'm full HP, and that full 72 points of health is counted as overhealed, which means that it's doubled. So now you're healing for 145 HP over the next 20 seconds. That's most of the time, that's going to be the full HP of your friends, and it's going to keep healing that. I don't know if that's a bug, but not only that, but you're also overhealing your medic. 25 increase to all. No, wrong one. Increase the relic use speed. Relic use -1. Gather, great. It also overheals an extra 15% because of relic use efficacy, and heals nearby allies for 30% of the total healing value on top of that. And if they're below 35, it's increased to 60%. So the healing, all of that stuff gets cracked, and I will show you some video of this actually working later. It might be so high it feels almost like an exploit or a bug or something like that. I don't know. I think it's right just because of the way the Resonating Heart works. So I don't think this is going to be something that they have patched, because it feels so necessary when you're playing Apocalypse. It almost feels like, unless you perfectly dodge everything, you got to have somebody healing like this for you to even complete it. I'm running the big minion, the Reaver. The big giant AoE whenever you hold it and kill it is nice. It also does really nice damage, and you can pay attention on healing, and it'll supplement your DPS as the healer a little bit, unless it's a flying boss. If it's a flying boss, then I will go for the flyers. And if the flyers are getting one shot and it's a flying boss, I might want to go back to Reaver, literally just to have him there to take damage. That way I can get my, like I said, my passive, this regenerator passive procced to get my relics back, because I am spamming those constantly, because you never run out, but you always want to have that 20 seconds up that you get. But really, you can pick and choose. I'm running the rugged trait so that my summons have plus 100% HP. That's more HP that you can heal, and that gives them less of a chance of getting one shot, because if your summons do get killed and they're going to be down for a while, because we are running some expertise, but they don't come back as fast as you'd like as a healer trying to get your relics back. But yeah, definitely want rugged. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but I'll while I'm at this screen, I'll show you the traits. Running fortified, that's why the armor is 290. Gotta have that. What you do to get that is you find the summoner class. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on how, or not summoner, excuse me, the engineer class. There's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to get engineer. You want to get to max level. Once you get to max level, this will be here for you to use with any class. So that's great, because we want to be as tanky as possible in this build. Regrowth, that just comes naturally with your summoner. That health regen is cool. I don't find it useful for healing, but it is nice out of combat not to have to use a relic or something like that. That way you only have to use your relics or your skills or whatever for healing when you're actually in a fight. Swiftness, I had 4 extra. I put it in here. My thought process is, if I can run a little bit faster, I can get to people a little bit faster to pick them up, because people get one shot by a lot of stuff in Apocalypse unless they're as tanky as you, and not that many people are running tanky builds. I see a lot of people doing just high DPS crazy stuff, but they do get one shot. So triage, that comes naturally with medic. That's something you definitely want because of the 50% healing mod. Vigor, we want that because we want as much HP as possible, because we want this to be as high as possible, this HP, on the left. The higher your HP is, the more percentage of your HP you're going to heal your teammates for, which means the higher heals. This is the way I look at it. Expertise, we want to get those skills back as fast as possible. The shield skill or the revive skill, whichever one you decide to use. I think they're both good. We'll talk about that in a second. Scholar, I've got extra XP because I'm trying to max out all of my archetypes right now. That apparently, I don't know how true this is. It's not necessarily what this video is about, but apparently the word is that if you max all your traits out, you get better relic fragments, which is what I'm trying to min-max right now, so I'm doing that. But if I wasn't running Scholar, you could run Blood Bond, meh, Bloodstream, decent. Sometimes I find myself with gray health, and that regen would be kind of cool. But usually I'm spamming relics anyways, and my healing is so quick it doesn't matter. Lifesteal maybe. Arcane Strike wouldn't be bad. Spirit would probably be the best if I had to say. That way you could spam some mods and do a little bit of extra DPS. It's really up to you on that last one, but I would replace it with something. I know really what I'd probably replace it with. There's a bug that doesn't allow you to get the Revivalist trait, which is I think it goes up to 20% or 10% extra revive speed for your teammates, but there's a bug not allowing it to show up. That's probably what I would actually go for, because like I said, the biggest problem with this build is reviving. But we can, and I'll show you. So back to my character, I'll show you what I'm running. Full Leto gear. Your weapons, totally up to you. I would say Enigma's almost a must, especially on like the last boss fight or some of the boss fights that spawn a lot of orbs or something that's going to kill you. Enigma's really, really useful. Some of that stuff will one-shot your team, and this will just stop that from happening, so you don't have to revive them. I use Merciless. I like the bleed that it puts on there. I run Bandit on it so that I can shoot a lot more. Some people will run the bleed ability, or the bleed mutator on here. But I like the bleeding just for the regenerator bosses. This will half their healing, so it will make them a little easier to kill than they would be if you didn't bleed them and they're sitting there regenerating HP, especially on Apocalypse. It's pretty brutal. So I like that. But like I said, you can run anything. I run the Stonebreaker because I think it's cool. But into the jewelry, this is where the build really comes alive. So I run Red Dose Sigil. Burden of the Divine, all damage dealt to the wearer is reduced by 10%, or all damage dealt by the wearer, excuse me, is reduced by 10%, and 50% of self-healing applies to allies. Now, this is where the cracked healing comes from. All of this resonating heart, you're already getting your medic healing that you're getting for using a relic in the first place, which will typically get your teammates to full health anyways by itself, and then any subsequent damage that they take will get healed by that 20 seconds of overhealed health. And my math was actually really wrong earlier. 70% of my HP gets doubled. So let's just see what that is real quick. So okay, this is why. Okay, yeah, I definitely got the math wrong. So this is why. 70% of my HP is 140. That means that when that's doubled with the resonating heart, you have 280 HP, roughly. I rounded down a little bit. It's 202.3, but you have a 280 HP that is pooled to heal your teammates over time for 20 seconds. So that's most of your teammates that you're going to get are going to be in the 100, 140 range on HP. That means they can take 280 damage over the next 20 seconds and still be at full HP by the end of it, as long as they don't get one shot. So that's why it's so cracked. I just like learned my own build. But so that's where it's coming from. It's the Burden of the Divine. Now, I also, since I'm pushing HP and armor, that's my thought process. I got the Ring of the Robust. That increases your max HP by 10 and armor by 15. And then I also have the Seal of the Empress, increases max HP by 20, reduces max stamina by 10. The Doe Sigil is good. It increases your healing effectiveness of the relic specifically by 30%. And that doubles when the wearer's health is below 50. So if you do get down to under 50%, your healing's going to be even more cracked, because then that goes up to 60%. Now, here's what really sets the build off. Because when you're playing tanky builds, it's difficult to not get hit by some of those one-shot abilities. This is something I learned recently, and it completely set the build off. Ring of Omens. You can put this ring on, and you will then ignore the flop. Period. There is no flop when you just have the Ring of Omens on. I don't know if it's a bug, if it's intended, but it almost, you don't have like a light roll, but it almost ignores your weight class. Now, the Ring of Omens, if paired, and this goes for anybody who's trying to make any other kind of build, this is one of the coolest things I've found in the game. The Ring of Omens, when paired with any of the amulets of the omens, and you'll know this because they have the same name, the Doe, the Ravager, Death, Life, Sun, and Moon. I think that's all 6. When paired with any of those amulets, your dodge will now be the missed step. And you'll notice we are at 90 weight, and I am still missed stepping instead of doing the really timey regular dodges that you would have at 90. So this is insane. Now I can survive. Now I don't have to flop. I'm super tanky. Yo, calm down over there. I'm super tanky. I have a ton of HP, and I still have some mobility. It's crazy. I love this build. I had to show it with you guys. I had to show it to you guys. I've seen a similar build or two online or on YouTube. I played with this build for a long time, all the way up to we're working through Nightmare right now. I have all faith that we're going to beat it. Oh, I got to show you my relic. So I have healing effectiveness, flawless +4. That's 14% extra healing. Awesome. Honestly, that could probably be replaced with a revive speed. I might play with that. And if any of you guys do this build and then switch it up a little bit and try to do some more revive speed, I think that's probably what this build needs to be like the build. Like, it feels like meta healing. Like, if you're not running this build, then you're trying to just have fun, you know what I mean? Which is fine, but I'm saying, like, if you wanted the absolute meta, which is crazy because I usually play off meta stuff in any game, and I feel like I kind of created it. But flawless health, 9% more HP, flawless armor effectiveness plus 875 armor. I'm just going for pure HP healing and tankiness. But like I said, revive speed's probably the best thing that you could do to switch that up. Now, I will show you this too before we get into showing you, like, I'll show you some footage of this actually working and what it looks like, and kind of break down how the playstyle works. If you wanted to not have the Misty Step and you wanted to go, you know, maybe a little less tanky, because you can put on, well, I'm still going to have the misstep, but you can put this on and be at 73 weight, still have pretty high armor and decent resistances. What I would go for is what's called Nimue's Ribbon. This is nice because it's just a flat 20% increase over the red dose, the sigil, in just straight healing effectiveness. So it's just better unless you're at 50% HP. But it's also nice because it grants you haste for 25 seconds, so you can zoom around, and you will have your relic. You're popping it constantly. You're definitely going to have haste the entire fight. And then you can replace Ring of Omens with some more HP, we'll say, or you could even do Ring of the Forest Spirit. I think your healing is so high at this point that it's kind of a moot point. But if you just want to see those health bars go from 10 HP to 150 damn near instantly, push it as high as you want. But there's also another HP ring, and I might be blind. This is the bad thing once you get so many rings in this game. It's so right here. Yep. So you could do the Fate Protector Signet as well and push your health up even higher. And it also has a nice little added benefit of reducing your weight a little bit as well. So now this would be the max healing and still have a role. Max heal tankiness, max HP. And then let me talk about this real quick before we get into the video or the footage. Redemption or healing shield is totally your choice. If you're not, if you don't have the timing to save people with shields, I use it by shielding their body before I run up to them and pick them up, just in case we get hit while I'm trying to revive them. They won't get finished. But redemption would just heal them anyway, so it's totally up to you which one you want to use. But let's get into the cracked healing and what it actually looks like while you're playing. Let's go.
Yeah, boy.
So guys, that's the build. That's the gameplay. You can see I'm just keeping my relic on cooldown, and then when a teammate goes down, I'll use the shield to shield myself and them. I do think that the build could benefit from bulwark. That might help you not get staggered so much when you're trying to pick someone up on some different bosses. That was a random group, and I think it would have even been a better video if I had, you know, 2 people that I play with regularly on there with me to help showcase it. But you know, if you have any suggestions on what you think might help, I know revive speed would probably help. Cannot wait for that bug to be done so we can get that trait. But just put them in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you guys. I'd love to see y'all's builds. I've been watching some YouTube videos. I love this game. I haven't been this addicted to a game in a long time. It's a whole lot of fun, and I can't wait for the DLC. But I'm thinking about doing a video of a full playthrough of the last boss on Apocalypse, beating it with this build, so look forward to that. And if you guys have any questions about how to get items, or you want a guide on, you know, like how to get the Thane fruit tree or something like that, let me know. I'd love to do stuff like that. But thanks for watching. See you later.